Welcome back to Stone and Timber. I'm Darren,
And I'm Dax.
and we have a special guest tonight.
Uh,
It is our son, Dylan, or my son, Dylan,
It's not
not your son,
my
your
brother.
brother,
Pleasure to
Dylan.
be here. Pleasure
Yep.
to be here.
Excited to have you. We are looking forward to this one. We've been talking about you the last two episodes, actually,
Mhm.
and
Which is why our episode was delayed
yeah,
because we couldn't release it because of your child, which we'll get into.
yes, we will
Maybe.
very much.
Yeah, I guess so.
His name's Crew, not Crewster. Just
I
wanted
did,
to throw
yeah,
that out there.
It is not Crewster. Crew Chandler Foster.
Let's start off the podcast, Dax. Why don't you pray and start us off tonight?
Yes, sir. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to just sit at a table together and have real, honest conversations about life struggles and walking obedience with you. Lord, just bless our time and allow us to be honest and continue to be on the direction of your word and be um, obedient to you, Lord. In your heavenly name, amen.
Amen.
Right.
Well, I have to say that it is really an honor to have you both on here with me. It's kind of crazy.
Maybe it's like you're interviewing both of us.
I could.
Sorry.
I could do that. It is very strange just reminiscing backwards to the birth of you and now seeing where you are and you and now having a podcast with y'all. It is super cool.
Yeah.
So, well, Dylan, tell us what's been going on.
Just in general, like
First
life.
off, introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Dylan Foster. I am a new dad, 2-week-old baby. Married to my lovely wife, Jocelyn. Been married for 4 years. It's been the best 4 years of my life. And yeah, other than that, I work for Scree Gear. I do a lot of work in the outdoor industry. And other than that, I'm just a full-time dad now.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. So why don't you start off and tell us about growing up? Where were you born?
You better say the right answers.
I was born in Lubbock, Texas. Tech, always do. Uh, lived in Lubbock, or we lived in Plainview for a couple years, and then moved back to Sherman. Or I guess we moved here. No, we did. It was Sherman, right?
Yeah. Actually, we go back. It went. You don't even remember all this because you were such a baby. But we can go ahead. Just tell us your story.
Okay. I mean, I guess we can kind of just jump into my testimony.
Sure.
In a sense. Grew up in a Christian home. Just kidding.
Well, no,
I'm not kidding. All right. Obviously, I was born in the beginning, and it was good. We lived there, moved back to here, and then my first recollection of life was really Sherman, with dad teaching at Fairview and mom teaching at Dillingham. And that's when life like kind of started for me. Was like I started gaining memories of church and being in the church, being active with mom and dad. We would go to do all the vacation Bible schools, stuff like that. Early church memories, and I valued those highly. So moving from that, we made a big transition in fourth grade, which is where everything kind of changed for me. Because like my youth was kind of protected until we moved to Howe, which was a blessing and a curse in many ways. Because obviously, count it all as joy now, I would never change any of it. But we made the transition to Howe with mom teaching, and that brought a lot of introductions. Because Sherman and Fairview, as a fourth grader, you don't expect to be introduced to a lot of the things, but then you move to a public school with a bunch of broken homes, which obviously private schools have it as well. But moved to Howe and was like a lost sheep. Like went from having close friends to having really nobody, and was the black sheep of the class in a sense because like I was new, didn't know anyone, and through those years really changed the entire motion of my life because I was wrestling with church, new church, new school, and went through all of Howe. We stayed in Howe until I was a freshman, and I faced a lot of trials in Howe. Like, never really found my place, never really found my group, never really found a purpose. I tried to dive deeply into the world to find value because I couldn't get people to appreciate who I was as an individual and my like I don't really know the right way to phrase that, but didn't really find who I was there, and dove deep into sin, dove deep into the world, and then transitioned into high school. And we made a move because I couldn't handle it anymore and was losing myself. Fell very deep into depression, was really on the edge. Like, I was contemplating it all continuously and wanted just to be done. And so finally we made the move, and I transitioned to TCS my freshman year and introduced myself differently to scripture because like I had been in church, I had been hurt by church, and I didn't understand it, but I was gaining scriptural knowledge in the back of my mind, which comes back in the end. Like, it's cool to see the omniscience of the Lord and His presence through everything, because subconsciously I was gaining value and knowledge that I didn't know I had, and I was building up my inventory of like things to rely on, and didn't grasp it. I was always in the church, but never really felt that I fully believed. And I made the choice as a young kid to be baptized just because everyone else around me was being baptized. So I felt that that was the right thing to do. But always being taught that, I felt like I needed to. So I kind of felt pressured in a sense because I was like, my family's in the church all the time. If I don't believe this, I'm weird. Like, I've got to choose this. And so chose it that way. But then the world pushed me one way. I felt abandoned by the Lord. I felt abandoned by myself. I couldn't find everything. But then after high school, I went straight into the trades because I didn't prioritize things properly in school to set myself up to go to college or anything. And I had the whole notion that I wanted to go to college for sports. And obviously that didn't happen. Not a premier athlete by any ways, shape, or form. And so that didn't happen. So that broke me. And it just made me dive even deeper into the world because I didn't have a purpose, didn't have a direction. And everyone around me was leaving and was going to find their purpose and find their direction. And I wasn't. And I was here and I was alone. And I was like, there's only so many things that the world says that you can find your purpose in. And those top three are um, drugs, money, and sex. And so I dove heavy into the three to try to find it. And I got a job on the road to get the money. I got the money. Didn't have anything. I found all the women to try to fill in that void. Felt empty. And then I tried all the drugs and the alcohol. Didn't fill me. And it took a lot because I was on the road. I took a job traveling plumbing across Texas, which I'm beyond grateful because it taught me grit and perseverance, and it made me out of my comfort zone. But I was in an attic thinking one day, and I was like, I've got everything I could want. It's 105 degrees, and I'm miserable, and this is the rest of my life. And I got this feeling like there's something more that I'm missing. And I had remembered that one of my classmates, Trinity Lehman, had went to this program called Kanakuk Link Year, and I just got this gut feeling like I need to call her. Hadn't talked to her in a long time. And I shot her a call and I said, Trinity, am I too old for this program? And she was like, no, you're right at right at the max. So I was a super senior, but I called him and was like, I don't know what I want. I don't know why I'm calling you. This isn't what I desire. This isn't what I'm living my life to be like, but I want to try something new. And Garrett West was the guy that interviewed me, and on the phone he said, I'm gonna be real with you, we don't have any spots. Like, we're full. And then he called me back the next day, and I was in the attic again in Kaufman, Texas, and I was actually standing on trusses on a small piece of plywood that was overhanging a truss that wasn't strapped off, or it wasn't strapped off. It was nailed down, but I was on the end. So it was a loose piece of plywood. And he called me and he goes, Dylan, I made it work. We want you to be here. And I fell out of the attic. The piece of plywood broke on the phone. I fell out, hit the ground. I was like, oh, it was not bad. It was like 8-foot fall, but still, I was like, oh God. I was like, I need to go. This is my sign to get out of this. So I took it and picked everything up, and y'all knew that this is what I needed, and I couldn't have done it without you guys because y'all had to sacrifice a lot to pay for me to be there, which I am forever grateful for because I wouldn't be where I am without it. But we get to Branson, and I was at my lowest at that time. Like literally like a week before I went to Branson, I blacked out at the lake crying over my life. And literally that's a week before I'm going to this Christian ministry. And so that shows you where I was. But I get there, and I was at such a low point that I was like, you always hear the only way's up from if you're all the way down. And so I was like, I've got no choice but to give it my all. And I was like, I've given the world my all. I was like, let's give this a true testament and try. So I walked into class that first day knowing no one. And I was like, the good news is no one here knows anybody. So might as well dive in so we all can learn each other fully know.
Sure.
And it literally was 2 weeks into that program, and I gave it my all. I asked thousands of questions, spent countless hours up just diving into scripture. And what was cool to see, which looking back on it now, it shows you like the Lord's hand in all of your points in your life. I was reading things and it felt like the first time, but I knew it. And I was like, this is wild. This makes sense. Like the light switch happened. 2 weeks in, I was sitting in the cafeteria. Go figure. And we were talking, and Xander was saying something, and they said something about the gospel. And I was like, dude, what is the gospel? And they explained it to me, and I was like, I believe that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to live my life for that. And that was 2 weeks into a 9-month program, which was crazy. But that shows me that the Lord was very intentional in placing me there because he could have saved me at the end of that. But he needed me to be saved in the beginning, which is awesome because it played a huge role in that. But it just completely altered everything. I lost all my friends back home because this lifestyle that I was living was a complete contradiction now, which was fine, but it hurt. Like, obviously, I didn't handle things properly with a lot of people because I had to stop. Otherwise, I'd still indulge. And accepted Christ then, 2 weeks into Link here. This was 2020. And what's really cool about all of this is Jocelyn was there, my wife. And we're walking through this. She had seen me before, and she had seen me in the progress of sanctification process. In the beginning of the sanctification process, the Lord was working on my heart then. And he continually placed her next to me. And I started paying attention to it. And that was really cool to see because through Link here, we started dating, which led to our marriage. Thank the Lord, because she's the best thing ever. But after that, came back and went back to the same job, which was wild. But it was cool to see that I was doing the same thing that the Lord was doing for 30 years. I was in the trades. I was doing stuff that's uncomfortable, doing things that's hard. But the Lord was teaching me through it. I was molding things with my hands. I was getting to be humbled because I can't do it all. Like I need help. It showed me that I needed to rely, and it made me into what I believe to be like a true selfless person, is setting yourself aside and setting your pride aside and just letting people come in. And so that was really cool for me to just see the Lord's hand in it after, with the scriptural knowledge, because the things that would frustrate me before, I was appreciating now. So then doing that, came home and stopped traveling. And I said, I've got to prioritize Jocelyn because this is going to be something. I called Mom one day and I said, would it be crazy if I asked Jocelyn to marry me? And she was like, no. And so I went and picked Mom up, got a ring that day. Wild. Just went
Can
on.
I stop you for a second?
What?
go back to the time, because you told me this story about you being up in the attic again and listening to the podcast.
Oh yeah, that's fair. I was this is pretty cool. I forgot about that for a second there. So I was in El Paso, Texas.
Was this before or after Link Year?
After.
Yeah.
I was in El Paso, Texas after Link Year, listening to Michael Todd at Transformation Church, which is a whole nother topic. But at the time, which is cool to see because like you'll meet a lot of people who will start listening with Stephen Furtick, with Michael Todd, with people like that.
Sure.
Because they're very surface level podcasts and sermons, and that was influential to my story. One day I was wrestling with where I was, and I was physically in El Paso, 12 hours away from home, and I was miserable because I was like, I know that the Lord's placed her in my life, and I know that my family needs me, and I know that if I keep choosing myself and my career over her, I'm going to lose her. And I'm losing myself because I'm back on the road, separating myself from the church, separating myself from my family, and I'm on my own. And the ecosystem of the construction industry is completely broken, completely over the world, which is fine, but that means that there needs to be more people in that pushing the gospel. And I felt that was my calling, but I was alone, and so it wasn't. But I was on a ladder running some CPVC water lines, and I was listening to a podcast. It was one of those weird ones too, like it wasn't really purposeful. It was just a podcast that I wanted to listen to. And I literally was like wrestling with the Lord that day. I was like, God, I don't know what to do. I can't hear you. Like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I really need you to talk to me. I was like, I trust you, and I know that you're purposeful with every step and every day and every minute. I was like, just speak to me. And it was really awesome because I was literally an hour and a half into this podcast, randomly scrolled through, picked one. It was old too, so it's not like live. And I'm working, and I say that was a prayer, and I said, Amen. And Michael Todd, in the middle of his sermon, goes, you know what, guys? We need to stop. He's like, we need to pray. And he started saying, Lord, there's people out there that are filled with doubt and that don't listen. And they know that you are good, but they need to hear you. So, Lord, would you please speak to Dylan? And literally, my heart, I dropped. I was like, okay. I was like, you can't write that. Like, you can't make that up. It's a 2-year-old podcast on the minute that I needed the Lord to speak to me. He stopped me in my tracks and said, listen. I got off that ladder. I put all my stuff in my truck, and I went to my boss, and I said, I've got to go. I shook his hand. I said, thank you for giving me this opportunity again, but I need to be home. And that's when I came home, and I'm pretty sure that's close to when I asked Jocelyn to marry me.
Yeah.
And, which is funny because I feel bad for Mr. Gary. I quit on him twice. I did. I did. And he hates me, but it's all right. Came home from that, and it just changed it altered everything. And the Lord really started putting his hand on my life in a better sense because it led me to be where I am now, which is 4 years married with the love of my life. And we just welcomed a beautiful baby boy, which that whole process is just insane.
Well, we're going to want to hear this process.
Not
Not at conception. I'm talking about the birth.
Okay. This moment was pretty crazy because, like, it's surreal. Like, childbirth is something that you think about forever. Like, I think at the end of the day, I am called to be a fisher of men, biblically. But my true purpose in life, I believe, is to be a dad. And I've always felt that. Like, I love kids, and I love intentionality behind being a father. And I got a great dad behind it to show me an example of that for my entire life. And he's still here, gratefully. Like, came back with the milk. It was great.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I had a preconnotative notion of what it was going to be, but honestly, the biggest thing for me was I needed to choose Jocelyn because I'm a selfish person and I like to make things about myself. It's just I'm a broken, weak, and weary sinner.
That's
But
all of us. That's all.
but I needed to, because that's the whole thing. Like I would credit Jocelyn and I's communication with each other to be one of the biggest things. The reason why our marriage, I believe, is so healthy, is we choose each other daily and we die to ourselves daily, and we are communicative about what we need. And I knew in this moment that Jocelyn was going to need me more than ever to build her up rather than to take the attention away from her. Because the Lord uniquely made them to bring life into this world. And so for that moment, it was as cool of a moment as literally Jocelyn walking down the aisle. I've had two moments in my life where like when the doors opened at my wedding, I swear I didn't see Jocelyn, I saw the Lord. And that's biblically accurate to like
Sure.
what the whole analogy of a wedding is. And when that baby came out, I saw the Lord in it because I was like, this is life.
Absolutely.
Like, what I love and what's so hard, or it's not hard, it's like very valuable to me, is he came in white as snow to that wedding in that gown. And then he came in as my son. And the Lord chose me then and he chose me now. And my son gets to know me as who I make myself to be for him now.
That's right.
And what is awesome is like, I think about all my failures. I think about all my struggles. I think about all my doubts and everything. And my son knows none of that. But my son knows that I'm his dad. And it's the craziest thing ever because I look at myself and I mean, like, am I qualified for this? Like, am I ready to be a dad? Not at all. Like, not in any way, shape, or form. But the Lord uniquely chose for this boy to be my son. And so it's so awesome to wrap my head around that. Every time I hold him and look at him, it's intentional. Like the Lord needed for me to be here in this season and to watch what my job is now, for me to be there and to be home every day to hold that baby, to help my wife, to pray over that baby, to pray over my wife. All of these days, I'm just overwhelmed with joy because it's such a unique and beautiful experience. And I can't, like, it's one of those things like you can't express how good of a feeling it is until you're there.
Yeah.
You know, like, all right, it's nothing like I anticipated because I thought about it too much. And I pre-wrote what I thought it would be like. And then in the moment, I was like, I even can't, that's why before the birth, we were sitting there. Johnson had worship music going. At first, I was like, we're going to have a JBL bumping worship music while we're pushing the baby out. I thought it was cringe. It was the most beautiful thing ever.
Yeah.
Credit to her for doing that. I was looking at her and I was overwhelmed with emotion because, like, she's the most strongest woman I've ever met in my entire life. She's the most beautiful, amazing thing to ever happen to me. And to watch her prepare herself mentally to bring this child in the world, I couldn't handle it. I was like, I've got to go. I've got to go. I'll be right back. And I went out and I was just overwhelmed. And I went out to mom and dad and I was like, I can't do this. And I had like no words. I just asked. I was like, can you pray over us? I was like, and I hugged mom and dad. And in that moment, it changed everything back because then I feel like I was dad watching me enter the world.
That's crazy.
And it made me think about my entire life. And it made me think about all the moments that we fought and all the moments that we joyed. And I was like, I sympathize and I understand why he chose to never give up.
We have it on video.
But you know why? Like that love and that understanding for that moment, I was like, it's completely different. Like, and then literally we prayed and came back in and she pushed for 40 minutes, which is insane.
Yeah.
And 40 minutes and then our lives are forever changed. That baby boy entered the world and we're golden.
That's so awesome.
It's crazy.
I love you.
I love you too.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You'll get to experience it one day too.
maybe,
Oh, I can't wait.
hopefully.
I told you that's the most miraculous thing I've ever been involved in, is seeing you guys being born.
Mm-hmm.
Besides me.
It's very, very.
C-section, maybe.
Dax was 14 and a half pounds.
Yeah.
Just kidding. 11.2.
No.
Physically could not.
That's wild.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, because that means a lot too. Just hearing you say it, because you haven't said anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew you would feel that one day, and I'm just glad you got to experience it.
Definitely.
And everything happens for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, I'm just happy that you get to why don't you tell us about your job?
Okay.
And tell us about that, because that's given you this opportunity to stay and be with crew.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, I will say this too. Like, I always wanted to be in this industry my entire life. Like, I have videos of myself on YouTube as a 11-year-old
That's right.
doing this, and so it was very easy to get discouraged and not feel purpose when I was traveling doing the trades, and even doing superintendent work, which was great. That was a huge blessing, but I didn't feel like I was where I needed to be. And it's another thing, like, if you have a passion and you're choosing to chase something, never give up on it, even if it feels purposeless, even if it feels like you're getting nowhere. Like, I was getting nowhere, literally, analytically. But all it takes is one connection, one conversation, and your life could be forever changed. Because I met one person at a show. Shout out to Joey, one of my best friends in the world. Met him in Montana at a total archery event. We were all three together, and Joey connected me with Scree Gear, and Scree ended up sponsoring me, and I did photography and videography for them, and then they offered me a job this past year as the show coordinator. So I book and do all of our shows, and then in the off season I do retail work. But it was a sacrifice, because I knew that for the first 5 months of the year I'm going to be gone, off and on, all over the United States, which is a blessing because I've always wanted to see it and I've always wanted to do it. But I, again, beyond grateful for my wife, because that's not what she ever anticipated me doing. I chose to leave my traveling job to be present, to choose her. But then the Lord molded us and changed our life and our season of life, and I was present, and then she was okay with me being gone. So shout out to Jocelyn, because I couldn't do it without her. She made the decision. I told her, I said, I want to give this to you because I choose you first. But if you will let me do this, I would love to do this job. This is my dream. And so I travel the world, or not the world. I mean, we went to Africa.
Actually, you have been.
Yeah. And I get to sell camouflage and talk about hunting all day. And then I come home and talk about hunting online to people,
Yeah.
which is just baffling that that's a career. Like, beyond grateful for this opportunity.
You know what's real cool is the fact that I got to watch you grow up and have that since you were a little boy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the craziest thing, because we got you that bow that time. Oh my gosh. And you were taking that bow and you were shooting, and I mean, you were doing everything. And your mom and I were sitting there, and you were wanting to go hunting so bad. And what did I say?
She said, if I go outside and I hit 10 bullseyes in a row, that you'll take me hunting. He didn't think I'd do it either.
And he did it.
5 minutes.
In 5 minutes. And you also, one time, what did you do when you brought it to the door with your mom? Tell that story.
Shot my neighbor's rabbit and brought it to the door alive on the arrow. My mom almost fainted.
Yeah. And we also lived, that's the time.
In the neighborhood.
That's the time we lived at Dos Lagos, which means two lakes. And at those lakes, there were ducks. Do you remember that story?
There's ducks and geese. This is one of my favorite things ever, because this shows me that my dad truly doubted me as an archer, because at first he was like, okay, go shoot 10 bullseyes. You can't do that. He's not going to do it. I guarantee you, knowing what it's like to be married, I guarantee you he told my mom, don't worry, Vanna. He ain't going to do it. I gave him 10 bullseyes. He can't do it. And then I went out there and did that. And then Dad said, all right, well, tomorrow I'll take you to the pond and we'll go hunt for ducks. Public pond, right in the person's backyard, in the road. Dad, come to think about it, like, I would love to be able to visually see this. We're crunched up against the leaves, against these reeds. The bread-fed ducks are walking up because they see us. This lady's walking down with bread in a bag. This goose walks up, and Dad goes, all right, Dylan, give it a go. I shoot it right in the chest, and the duck falls back. My arrow bounces off. My dad's like, oh, crap. This lady's like, and I drop my bow, full focus, sprint, grab the arrow, go to stab the duck, and the lady's like, oh my God, oh my God. Dad's like, get in the van, get in the van, get in the van. We've got to leave.
Do you remember how old you were?
14, something
No,
like
you weren't.
that. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Like maybe 10.
No, you were like 7 or something. It was. I mean, he was a little baby.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, that's fair.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. I mean, it was those arrows were dull,
Yeah, they were practiced.
and so it was
points.
not. I wasn't concerned he was going to kill it, and it hit that, and it literally went down like that, and started shaking and convulsing. Oh my goodness, that was so much fun.
Yeah, that duck's in the living room to this day.
Yeah, whatever.
Biggest trophy.
But then after that, we had to feed because we didn't have land here. I mean, I grew up in West Texas where we did have land, but I didn't have any way of taking you places because we didn't have, a lease or anything. So
yeah.
your mom found Archers for Christ,
Christ,
in Paris. And so we started going there and got you involved in that. And so tell a little bit about that.
That was pretty cool because, I mean, I guess it all plays a sense into
Yeah.
everything.
Absolutely.
Like, that gave me grit and that gave me an escape. That's another big part of my testimony. I know that I was very spotty with my testimony. It's been a bit since I've said it, and I apologize for that. But
Oh, that's good.
we did these tournaments, which were so fun, and it showed me what the people in the outdoor industry are like, which this is why I urge everyone, if you've never been involved with anything outdoors, hunting or fishing, you need to do it because you're uniquely in the Lord's creation, completely surrounded and encapsulated by it.
Right.
And alongside people that have the same values and understanding. And Archers for Christ uniquely is that because, like, it's all for the glory of the Lord. Like, their conversation, they're devoted, they're praying through it, they're talking about your life, and they're intentional. And I value them forever for that. But I went and started doing competitions with Dad, and it just opened a whole nother world for me.
Mhm.
And then it taught me to have motivation and direction with practice. And so, like, in my days when I would struggle mentally, I escaped through that practice and through that determination to get better for that. And that was fun. And it taught me a lot, met a lot of people that I still talk to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. And so tell about the time that you actually had to win so many tournaments or place in so many tournaments.
So, I mean, all you have to do actually is you have to shoot in so many tournaments and you get access to their lease.
Yeah.
And so that's still a thing to this day with Archers for Christ. They have the section of land, which is unique about them. Because a fun fact about Texas is it's like 95% private land. So if you're not involved with anything, it's very hard to find places to go for free. But there is public land. You just have to find it. And that gave us the opportunity because at the time in life, like, it wasn't something that we could grasp to go buy a lease.
Mm-hmm.
Like, y'all were working 3 jobs apiece. Like, obviously it wasn't a priority,
Right.
but you guys still sacrificed to make it happen for me, which again, couldn't have done it without y'all because, like, that was huge. And that really changed my entire perspective because Scott McClure, which is one of the best men I've ever met in my life, took us out to his stand and said, I want to take you guys.
Yeah.
We shot with him and his son in tournaments and it was really cool. He was very influential with this whole process. Took us out there. And on the opening day of my first deer hunt ever, I shot a doe with you
On video.
on video. And it completely changed. I was like, this is it. I'm hooked for life. And to this day, I still am. And my fire is bigger than it ever has been for the outdoors.
Yeah. Incredible. Those are experiences that we'll never forget, memories and stuff, you know. And so go back to the time when you and Dax and you were doing the filming when you were younger and you had your own hunting show, remember? And your mom and I were gone.
We blew up a barn.
And Nana was,
It just keeps getting
Nana was
bigger and
there.
bigger.
This is truly a fish was so big story because I have a 24-inch target. It's a 24-inch square. And in front of it, I put a axe can with a lighter.
And for those of you that don't know what Axe is,
Axe body spray.
there you go.
And this was literally like 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
And so that was back in Axe's prime. But shot the axe can on camera. Dax was videoing. And it just made a big fireball, which has continually grown into I blew up a hay bale. I blew up the barn. I burnt down the field. Over the years, the story progresses.
All we could go off of was what we were told, right?
Yeah.
From you guys.
I just remember you yelling, and this is on video.
Get the water.
Like, get the water. No, get the All Sport.
Yeah.
So we didn't have Gatorade. We had this off-brand, like, members market
Yeah, because we couldn't
sports
afford
drink.
it. Yeah.
In our barn.
Horrible, by the way.
It was.
FDA unapproved.
I think we poured it on there and it made the fire bigger. It was
Red
crazy.
dive for sure.
And he's like, "Oh, get the All Sport." So I ran in there, and then I remember coming back out and seeing Nana just beelining it. I love Nana. She's our grandma, but she is so blind because I remember her directly like locking eyes with I think me, and walking up like, "Hey, are you okay? Everything fine
Everything's
here?"
on fire.
And you're over there like, like not saying anything, you're just kicking stuff. And I remember I had Zeb with me.
Mm-hmm.
And you're throwing the All Sport on there. And I'm just like kind of distracting her. I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. I'm just sitting there shaking. And then she's like, okay. And she like turns to go back to her house and she sees it and she's just like, Dylan, get inside.
She hasn't changed to this day. She hasn't
That's
changed.
funny.
Still blowing things up with my bow when I get the chance.
Yep.
And it'll never stop.
It's just incredible to watch, and you're going to get to experience the same thing with crew, to watch the progression and watch the Lord working and knowing that even the crazy things
Mm-hmm.
shape you and mold you into who you are.
Definitely.
And you know, it's just fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much fun. So
Do you think Crew's going to be an outdoorsman?
Lord willing. I hope. There's always adoption centers, isn't there? I'm just joking. Just,
crew, you can erase that when you get older.
just
Don't go on.
kidding.
No, I mean, because honestly, it's the Lord makes each kid individually its own.
Mm-hmm.
And so all three of you guys are separate people. And it is the craziest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Each of you have a little bit of each other, but the things that you like, I mean, I didn't influence you into that because I wasn't shooting a bow. That was just something that you were naturally wanting to do. Now I grew up fishing and things like that, but I wasn't taking you fishing. It was just we had a pond there and you fished and
Mm-hmm.
but
Lived there.
yeah, we lived there. It was you were exposed to it, but you're just naturally born for that,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And it's just amazing to see. And it's, you know, Dax and I, we talked about it last night that you have a job that you actually love, which we talked about this last night too, didn't we, Dax?
Mm.
That most people truly don't truly love their job completely. There's always something that they don't like,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, and you are truly getting to live out your dream,
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
which is really cool.
That's a huge blessing. And again, couldn't do it without Joss.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it is a balance, like you said in your one of your first episodes, is you have to have balance to those things. Because one thing that is a curse to this job is I pray for opportunities to meet people to do things, but if I say yes to all the things that I see and that I get asked to do, I would never be home.
That's right.
And so if I don't continually prioritize my marriage, then I would be gone.
Yeah, you'd be foolish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which would be so dumb.
Yeah.
But like it's very easy, and people do it all the time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's good. Well, and you got crew now that you're gonna be wanting to be home for too.
Mm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. And taking them with me.
And
That's the biggest thing.
when
is
he's
like,
old enough.
yeah, I will be. That is a huge blessing to this job as well. As like they advise for you to be a family unit.
Sure.
Like they want you to be present in the home. We have 14 full-time employees across the United States, and 90% of them work at home because they want us to be present in the home and to build their family up. And they actually advise for me to take Jocelyn with me.
Sure.
And they want me to be present with her. And like they've offered numerous times to fly her out, which is insane to think about. Like,
yeah,
crazy.
Well, we want to come with you too.
I know. Dax did. Dax got to go to Africa.
I know.
Except for he paid for it. He had to pay.
Yeah, but still,
No, it was great.
those are great times.
Mm-hmm. Deeper question.
Okay.
You just had crew. You
Mhm.
talked about how blessing it is, and that you literally felt like you saw Christ, or you might have actually seen Christ. Moving forward in the roles of a father,
Mm-hmm.
obviously you don't know this answer, and it's something like you're gonna grow to learn of how to father a child. But what is kind of your idea of a model that you want to build in a home for crew? What type of home do you want crew to have?
An open and honest home, because like, a lot of times like the world's built on pride, and it breaks homes apart.
Mm-hmm.
And walls that are continually built up in a home full of walls will never be broken,
Mm.
and you can't get through it, and that ends up separating the home because you build yourself apart. And what I want crew to see is a father that chooses his wife after he chooses Christ daily.
Mm.
And I want him to see that it's not cringy to be in love with your wife.
Yeah.
Like, it's not unmasculine for me to be infatuated with the beauty of my wife and with the little things in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a beauty to have a passion, and it's a beauty to chase after that. And it's a blessing. Like,
Right.
I want him to grow up with a desire to do more. I don't want him to be content with the basics. You know what I mean? Like, although there's beauty in the basics, and some people need that, I want crew to chase after his dreams and know that similarly to Jocelyn and I stepping into this, we prayed numerous times a day, every day before crew's entrance to this world, that the Lord would just grab his heart now.
Mm.
And that the Lord would just build a passion for him. And that starts with us. It's like we can't pray for the Lord to speak to him if we're not showing him the Lord. And so the best way to do that is to have a biblical marriage and to seek each other truly and to die to each other daily and let the Lord work. And so I just want crew to know that he is fully loved and that he's forever God ours. And so, like, I don't know, obviously,
yeah,
like
that's a question that's gonna.
I'm 2 weeks into it almost, and there's so many lessons that I'm taught every day, and it's crazy to see the the priority shift immediately. Like, it was weird because like you always hear about this, the first moment you hold them, it feels like this, yada yada yada. I didn't really honestly have a moment like that. Like the first moment I held him, because I have been actively praying over this child every day. And throughout the pregnancy when I'm home with Jocelyn, I'm praying over this kid, talking to this kid. It's felt like he's been here.
Yeah.
So like when he was here, I was like, okay, finally, you're out of the womb. If I've known you for 9 months. But it's surreal now when his eyes are open and he's looking at me and I'm like, this kid's gonna need me,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's been pretty cool.
I think that's
Yeah.
a crucial thing you said was, or part of your answer that I noticed was how you're just going to model a healthy relationship with your wife
Mm-hmm.
and for Jocelyn and y'all's marriage. And I think that's a crucial thing. It's just modeling Christ in the home.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing you can't do is, I mean, we all know this, you can't force Christ onto anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing we can do is represent Christ. And there's a amazing quote, and I've said this in a video before or in a conversation, and it talks about how there's 5 gospels. There's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and then you. And your life is a living gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And your relationship and your marriage with Jocelyn is a living gospel for your child.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally like your marriage is the physical representation of your child to see Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big responsibility.
Oh yeah.
No pressure,
Okay.
but it's pressure.
Well, I mean, you're supposed to choose your wife like Christ chose you, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so treat your wife as the church
Oh yeah.
and show her that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and crew will see that. But I can tell you, we're all sinners,
Oh yeah. We're gonna
and
fail.
we're gonna
Yeah.
fail.
Yeah.
And I failed.
Mm-hmm.
But the open walls, like you said, in the midst of failure,
Yeah.
if you have those open wall or no walls,
Mm-hmm.
is still a moment for you to represent Christ and His graciousness.
And I think that's going to help you too. Is when you do fail, is admitting the failure in front of Him. You know,
Oh yeah. I mean, I think about it all the time because like grace abounds,
sure.
but I always remind myself of Romans 6:1. Shall we go on sinning so that grace may abound? And it says, by no means, with the explanation point, and that explanation point is crucial because like Christ's grace is made to forgive you and mold you,
Mhm.
but His grace is there for you to take if you ask for it. But if you don't seek the Lord and give it up to the Lord, then it's like, am I really living a life for the Lord and
Mhm.
giving this up? Like His love and his appreciation and His understanding and his grace and His wisdom that He wants to give to us is there for us for the taking, but we still need to choose it, you
Right.
know? And so like that's one thing that Jocelyn and I am very grateful for. It's a daily battle. And obviously like we didn't get it right away. We've only been married 4 years, but I am very grateful that we are in a healthy spot with our communication because
Absolutely.
one day I sat there and I was like, at the end of the day, the probability of this marriage lasting statistically is none, like, or it's so low now.
Yeah.
But we chose each other.
Right.
So, like, we have to choose to communicate. Why would I choose to marry you and not talk to you about what I'm feeling?
Mm.
And so, like, you have to do that daily because, like, those walls being built, every conversation you don't have is another brick to that wall.
Yeah.
And every brick by brick, that wall will be built to separate you, and it'll be thicker and thicker and thicker. And by the time you get ready to tear it down, it's like unobtainable. And so, daily choosing that, that's one thing that, like, my friends are baffled by it. Like, there's so many funny stories that have happened, like, literally just this year, and people would throw up if they thought about telling their wife about it. And that's the first person I can't wait to tell.
Yeah.
Because she knows me, and I fully believe I live my life by to be fully known as to be fully loved. And vulnerability will breed that vulnerability. And so she can't fully love me if she doesn't know everything about me
Mhm.
and everything that I'm going through and all my battles and my struggles. And she loves me through it. And we choose each other through that because that understanding that I'm giving you all of me.
Mhm.
If you don't, then there's always something that they're trying to get and it's never enough. And so you have to give each other your all every day.
Well, the reason why most marriages don't make it is because it's tough. There will be times that things get rough and
Mhm.
hard and stuff, and people just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
They don't want to work at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to leave.
Definitely.
It's harder to stay and work it out and to have those hard talks and
Mhm.
stuff and to be there for one another. So, and one of the things that when your mom and I got married, and then because we weren't supposed to have any of y'all, and that was a blessing for us. And that's another story later. But when we did, it was like, oh my gosh, the sins of a father are cast down and I was like, shoot, I've got to change the way I'm living,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so I chose to not do a lot of things in front of y'all because I didn't want my sins to be passed down,
Yeah.
and so you're going to be in the same situation. The sins that I committed and you saw and the way that I was, I pray that you don't do those for crew.
Yeah.
And vice versa, as it goes on down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's got to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so.
And at the end of the day, like you said, grace abounds.
Absolutely.
100%.
And that's the realization of a Christian walk is as you enter into a relationship with Jesus and you continue to walk in relationship with him, your realization of your brokenness continues to grow.
Mm-hmm.
But your realizing of his holiness continues to grow at the same time. And that makes you realize the depths of his graciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a constant, lifelong, man, I'm way more broken than I ever imagined. And then you realize, man, he showed me so much more grace than I ever needed or deserved.
Oh yeah. There's two words that I live my life by, but two words that are very pivotal to my life is that it's just but God.
Yeah.
Because but God being rich in mercy, he chose to die for us still.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best verse.
Ephesians 2, man.
When you
changes
read
your life.
that but God is the gospel.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
That's the moment of complete brokenness, but God.
Mm-hmm.
To salvation.
Amen.
Oh yeah.
Crazy. So, for anyone that's listening that is newly married, not married yet, what would you advise them as a younger person, primarily, or just a person that's thinking about getting married? What advice would you give them? One, for if they're hesitant about marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and then two, if they're thinking about having children.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously we'll attack the children one first because it's easier to talk about. It's like you're never going to be ready. You're never going to be financially ready. Like you're never going to be in a position to check all the boxes to be ready to be a parent. So it's just you got to pray about it and let the Lord allow it to happen. Because we were wanting kids and we tried for 11 months, literally up to the point where maybe this just isn't going to happen. And then the Lord, in his unique timing, was like, okay, it's time. And you just have to accept that. You have to submit daily to be like, okay, we're trusting you. I would just say continually pray. Be like, Lord, it's not our will but yours. We trust that your unique timing is better than our ignorance and our desire. Because one thing that you will not, I wanted kids right away. I've always wanted to be a dad. So I wanted to get married and have kids because you automatically think when I'm going to get married, I'm going to have babies. But those 4 years were the best 4 years of my entire life. And these next forever are going to be the next best. But I will forever cherish being one-on-one with Jocelyn for those 4 years. Because we got to fully know each other. We got to explore and do things and go places and love each other deeper than we ever could. And that intentionality is huge. If you're not intentional with your marriage and you let the pursuit end, because everyone's ultimate goal is marriage. You want to find a wife. You want to find a husband. And then the marriage ends whenever you stop pursuing them. And pursuit is huge. And that's another thing. What was the other one?
First one was the advice.
Yeah.
The advice on getting married?
Before you get married, because you kind of were talking about it because and I have the answer, but I want you to say it. Before you got married, what were you? That's
Well,
that's the
what?
question.
So the question is like, for someone that's dating,
Mm-hmm.
when is it the moment, or what's your suggestion to be like, hey, you need to get married, or you, whatever, like marriage is.
Well,
I don't know the advice on that.
I can't remember who told me this. I think it was Benjamin's dad. He was like talking about some relationship that we knew. These people had been dating for 6 years. He was like, you're either living frustrated or you're living in sin.
Mhm.
And
I've heard that.
it's such a like eye-opening quote because you can only think people are ignorant to what you're doing for so long. Like you're actively going to live in sin because if you look at scripture and you look at how the Lord uniquely made marriage and intimacy, if you're truly pursuing the Lord at the same time, you're going to be getting closer together. But that intimacy with the Lord is going to bring intimacy with you and your wife.
That's a quote that you told me. The spiritual intimacy leads to physical intimacy by design.
It does.
And I've always like, oh man, I need to keep that. Like I've always
Yeah.
remember that.
And it's a beauty in design, but if you're not doing it properly, it's going to lead to sin.
Right.
And so honestly, you're never going to have it's the same thing. You're never going to have a moment where you're going to be like, this is what I need to do. It's a choice. And one day I chose that I wanted Jocelyn to be my wife. And so you're equally yoked in a sense of like the fruits are there. You know the disciples by their fruits. And I knew that Jocelyn was chasing after the Lord and that her heart was fully encapsulated with the Lord's love. And I knew that I was chasing after the Lord, and we were equally doing that. I knew then, and the best way to do it is to just see what their life revolves around.
Mm-hmm.
Like the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks is another thing that I like see actively, which I believe was a scripture too. I can't remember, but you could actively see if somebody's pursuing Christ.
Sure, by their fruit.
Yeah.
And by what they say, how they react. Obviously, we're sinners and like we fail in times, but then what they circle back to. And if you want to make that decision, you just have to, and you have to commit to it, and you have to intentionally pursue because people date so shallow.
Yeah.
And what we do in the world nowadays is we live in a hookup culture.
Yeah.
People skip the relationship and go straight to the prize, and that corrupts everything. If there's one thing I could push people in the world to do is leave the physical intimacy out of it and let that prize be what the Lord uniquely designed it to be. Because if you corrupt that before you get into marriage, it will cause issues in your marriage that you'd never realize you were going to have.
Right.
Because you think that you're married now, it makes sense. And it should be good. It should be what the Lord designs. But you're going to have to work on it because you've already soiled that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like literally.
True.
Literally. And it's hard to wrap your head around, but like at the end of the day, truly it's just you gotta make the choice.
Yeah.
Like you'll
I think the answer you're kind of at the same point with it, having a child, getting married. No matter what it is, a leap of faith.
yeah,
There's an aspect of faith.
prayer and petition with the Lord. Like
Just trust me.
speak to me. Like if I make this decision, and also at the end of the day, it's the Lord's unique timing and His omniscience in your life. You can commit and not get married, and it'd be perfectly fine. Like you could say, "I want to marry you," propose, and then throughout the engagement, you realize that it's not right, and you can call it off. Like that happens a lot if you realize that this isn't what I believed it to be.
So I guess that's through like a marriage counseling.
Yes.
That you'd realize, oh
Sure.
man, we're not.
Yeah,
Which is very important. I think.
Yeah.
100%. Premarital counseling and like allowing people in,
Yeah.
and allowing people of older age and of wisdom and have seen failure and have seen marriage and seen trials to speak into you, because a lot of times passion is so fiery for your partner that you will oversee things that you need
makes
to
you-
advise.
Blurred.
100%. And so like through those, you'll have
Avoids
those
covered
tough
things.
conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And those tough conversations will reveal truths, and then you can make your plea with the Lord if this is what I need to do. And if it's not, then He'll make it clear to you.
Well, I think one of the things that happened with you, whether you realized it or not, but I used to tell you and Darcy this, and I've told Dax this, but you got to go find your relationship with Christ, you and Christ first.
Oh, 100%.
And you did that.
Yeah, all of what I said too is
Right.
if you're equally pursuing the Lord.
Because that helped you control those urges too, because and now when you're going out into this marriage, you know that you're going to survive with your wife, right? God forbid something happens to you in a situation, and like we just had a friend that lost her husband.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there?
Yeah.
You know, because you can't put everything on your wife either, because you're truly loving Christ first. You know,
And I think the important thing too is realization that your wife is pursuing Christ too.
exactly.
And like, it's sad to say, but although she would definitely be terribly hurt if you were to pass away,
Exactly.
but she would be okay, and
Oh,
she
yeah.
would be able to provide. And
Because we have scripture to rely on.
exactly. That's what I'm
And we
saying.
know, like, I tell people this all the time, and I can use it improperly too. Because there's things that, like, people are like, how are you going to do that? I'm like, well, to live as Christ, to die as gain. Because, like, you got to take a step of faith and do it. And if it doesn't go out in the way that it's supposed to, you know that Christ will be magnified through it all.
That's
I think
right.
that's the answer to. You could say that about marriage and
Exactly.
having children. It's like,
Oh, 100%.
Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways to justify it and seek it. But at the end of the day, the answer to it all is prayer and petition. Like, let the Lord speak to you. Because, like, your voice and the enemy's always going to speak. And he's always going to yell in your ear. But that voice that you know is the Lord speaking to you, you will be brought peace. Because the Lord is going to uniquely speak to you, and you're going to hear it.
That's right. That's good. Well, man, we love having you on here.
there's a lot more to talk about
That's right.
moving forward as you grow and learn more.
Yeah.
But
For sure.
You know, and I don't think this will be the last time we have you on here. We can have you on some more and stuff. And
Yeah. I like answering questions. I love getting asked questions.
So I think this is the last question.
maybe.
This is one of the last questions. You realize that this video is forever.
Yeah.
And your son could look back on this.
Mm-hmm.
What's something you would want to say to your son right now?
I don't know. There's so much.
And this could be into multiple parts.
I don't know. I don't know. It's hard. It's beautiful because, I love him so much. I prayed for him. And we are so blessed that he's here and that his birth was good and that Jocelyn triumphed through it, and that the Lord worked in our hearts to bring us to this point together, because like we can't do it without him. And I don't know, crew, I just want you to know, crew, that we choose you daily and we love you and we desire for you to. I prayed over him last night and I said, Lord, I pray that you grab his heart, and I pray that you see the Lord through us and through your mother and through I, and that you chase after him, and that you see that we love you, and that you're surrounded by people that care, and that you're never alone. But I don't know. Why'd you have to ask me that?
Well, that's a real question, but
I think you see what being a father. Now you know why I cry all the time.
yeah.
I've cried more in the past. Like, I don't know. Everything's unique and beautiful. I see it in a different way, because like that little boy is so innocent and pure, and like that's truly what Christ was, sinless and blameless. And we nailed him to that cross, and he died for us willingly. And I see Jesus in him every day, because he opens those eyes and he smiles and he chooses me, crew. And I've got to be there and be ready and be a man for him and for Jocelyn. And so,
You know, and my tears are for joy because I'm seeing you become a man.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
He'll get it.
No, I will. It's a beautiful thing to watch. I've seen it with. It's crazy to see Darcy and Nick enter this, but then see you as a man being the headship of the house. It's just amazing to watch. And
I mean, in all reality, who would have thought? 5 years ago, who would have thought?
Yeah.
I'd be here now, you know?
I mean, we had the other episode about what is a man, and his humility is part of it.
And at the end of the day, the biggest thing in all of it is love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
The greatest of these is love.
like love and accepting it has changed my life. Like letting the Lord love me for me, and letting Jocelyn love me in my failures, letting myself love people in their failures, and choosing to pursue people in their failures and love them through that. Like, it's overwhelming. It's a great feeling to know that you're loved
Very much.
continually. And so, like, there's been times in my life where I didn't think I was, and I look back and I plead for people that feel that, because I saw how hurt I was at those times, and I'm like, if only you knew.
Yeah.
Because now that I'm a dad, I think about Dad thinking about me when I was in that moment.
Mm.
And I'm like, I can only imagine. I pray that crew never feels that, you know? And so it's moments like those.
The
That,
bad part is you don't have control over it.
I know. And that's another thing, too. Like, you have to accept it and submit that it's out of my hands. The Lord's got it.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's a great place to end this episode. But sorry to put you on the spot like that. But that's a true thing.
Oh, that's perfect.
I
Perfect.
love you.
Love you, too.
We're going to have you on here a few more times for sure. Because, man, I want to hear the ins and outs. Like, literally, this is records of saying, Croup, I don't know what I'm doing, but I love you.
Yeah.
I'm going to document it.
Yeah.
And
That's why I do it. That's why I do all my photos and videos
Yeah.
and stuff, so you can...
And, you know, if anybody's listening and watching this, can also see
Sure.
what that looks like.
Yeah.
And what they should be expecting and they should, you know, obviously you're not perfect,
Mm-hmm.
but how we should try to imitate Christ in a marriage and a family.
Mm-hmm.
Especially me. I mean, I'm not married or have a family, so it's cool to watch.
But you blink and you will be.
It's true.
Time flies.
Time flies, doesn't it?
Time flies.
It's already almost 2 weeks.
Crazy. I mean, I just think of Brooks too.
Yeah.
Bro was over earlier, and he was just like, "Something." She's like, "You're about to talk, dude. You're about to run over here." Crazy. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning into this
Yes.
episode, and thank you, Dylan, for sitting across the table with us and
Love
having
you
some
guys.
honest conversations.
Love having you on here. Love you very much.
Love you, too.
All right, everyone. Tune in for next week's episode, whatever that looks like.